Welcome back to TMZ Live. By the way, if you didn't notice in the last segment, Harvey had to take off, but we are moving on here. And actually, we're going to get into something he said a little earlier, one of his conspiracy theories. But this morning, President Trump decided that he was going to go after Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, which is not shocking. They are nemesis. They often have a lot of things to say about each other. This time, he's calling her out and saying she needs to take a certain test that he's sure he can beat her on. So we're going to talk to the Congresswoman about that. But we're also, since he made that attack on her, he has also announced that, as we referenced earlier in the show, the National Guard, he's going to be deploying the National Guard in Washington, D.C. to patrol the streets of D.C. as if they were local police. Joining us right now to talk about all this is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Congresswoman, welcome back to TMZ Live. How you doing?
I'm making it.
It has been an interesting morning for you. We're going to get to the your IQ, as the president brought it up this morning. But I got to tell you, wondering what's your take on this National Guard deployment in D.C. It's you know, we'll get into Harvey's conspiracy theory on it in a moment, but just what do you see, how you see this playing out?
This is absolutely unnecessary. It is really disrespectful to our National Guard as well as to those city elected leaders that are doing their jobs. We know that there is a 30-year low as it relates to crime in DC. And what we see is a president who does not want to operate with any boundaries whatsoever. This is somebody that consistently invokes emergency powers so that he can do whatever he wants to. And frankly, the only emergency that we have is that people were naive enough to elect him back to office. Our crisis is him sitting in the White House. It is not the people that are running DC. It is not the people that are running LA or the state of California. It is not those of us that are trying to make sure that there's a real check on him as elected members of Congress. It is him. He is the crisis, and he is the one that we really need to make sure that we get a handle on.
What do you think is the president's real motivation here? If things are getting better already, then why deploy the National Guard in an American city?
Well, we know that DC is chocolate city, okay? And so the idea of putting these persons who, to be clear, are not trained to do law enforcement. Soldiers are trained to kill. They are not trained to do investigatory work of petty theft and petty crimes that are taking place. And so he also wants to make sure that there is someone that is over this federal policing body that he's decided to employ that bends the knee to him. So right now, like DC police, they don't answer to him, right? But we know that he has his federal minions all over the place who just will do whatever he wants them to do, which means that most likely more terror is coming to our streets than being taken off our streets, because that's typically what he invokes, is terror on our streets. He is the one that decided that January 6ers were so good that they should be let out of prison and allowed to terrorize our streets, as so many of those January 6ers have since then been incarcerated for crimes like killing somebody, crimes like raping children. Some of them have already lost their lives trying to play with law enforcement. These are the guys that he thinks are the good guys.
It's interesting you brought up January 6th because, and this goes to this conspiracy theory that Harvey and others have put forward, that the real reason he's doing this is to be able to actually control the Capitol. And we know that on January 6th, the people who stood between the people who were the insurrectionists were local police, as well as the Capitol Police. So is this about really being able to control the Capitol? At least, do you put do you think that there's anything to that theory that this is a test to see if he can actually control the policing of the Capitol if he were to decide he's not going to leave office at the end of his term?
I don't know that I believe that. I think that it's still more of what we saw kind of in LA. It is more so he loves to go after communities specifically that are led by Black women. This is yet another city that has a Black woman as a mayor. And so I think that it is trying to make it seem as if they are incompetent, to make it seem as if they are low IQ, and to make people feel like they are not doing their jobs. And so I think that this is really about making sure that he can um, bridge a wedge between the people and their elected representation.
So you referenced Mayor Bowser, and I'm wondering now if you had a conversation with Mayor Bowser about going in on get a deal on an IQ test, as the president as the president did suggest this morning in a rant that, by the way, seemed to come out of nowhere. Obviously, we know that you have been very critical of him. You never hold your tongue when it comes to, but you haven't said anything recently, and I didn't understand why this morning he went on Truth Social and started this attack with you, saying that you're a low IQ individual, something we've heard him say about Charlemagne the God recently, but you're a low IQ individual and that you need to take the test, referring to the competency test, which, by the way, is different from an IQ test. That also seems strange. But why this attack this morning, seemingly out of nowhere?
It's funny that you point out that he doesn't even know the difference in the test that he takes in an IQ test, yet he's the one that's suggesting that I need an IQ test. Not to mention, I mean, based on the fact that my daddy isn't the one that got me into my schooling, and the fact that I have a little bit more education than he does, meaning I have more earned degrees than he does, I don't have time to play games with him. And the fact that you are the sitting president of the United States, and for whatever reason, you are waking up before I'm even awake on today so that you could try to drag me on your bootleg website, like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, why is it that people take him seriously? And then the bad part is that when we get 4 years from now and it's time to elect somebody, unfortunately, the entire country will look at whoever is running on the Democratic side, and they will have one bar that they use to say, you've got to meet this standard or this level, yet you allowed this fool in.
So, will you take the test?
Listen, my constituents don't have any concerns, but if he wants to do a test, yeah, so long as it's real people that's administering, not the bootleg doctors that claim he was perfect.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
All right.